Hey y'all, it's your girl Jada J. What's up? What's up? If this uploads properly, you guys, I'm gonna be on time. By the way, I just want to shout out a few people right at the top: Keith Turner, Brave Bear, Rel C. Um, I'm blanking, but I just wanted to shout those people out really quickly. I know there's other people, but I love all you guys. I'm blanking. I just got out of school, so. And actually, as I'm coming into the door, this is on. I'm like, Mom, pause it, because I'm supposed to be reviewing right now. So, got all my work done and stuff like that before I did this, of course, because else she would have killed me. Okay, there's actually one more thing I need to do, but. So, anyway, shout out to those people. And by the way, I did get some compliments on this. If loving you was wrong, I don't want to be right. Sure, I didn't get a chance to get to the comments that week. But yeah, I actually got this the first time I seen Tyler Perry, one of his plays live when he came to my city. It was Medea on the Run. It was fantastic. It was hilarious. Like, you were just laughing all the way through. It was really good. Definitely see one of his plays live if you ever get the chance to, Anyway, let's get into it. So this is If Loving You Is Wrong. I'm going to be honest to tell you, I don't know what season it is because of the mid-season thing. I don't know if this is season 5, or if this is season 6. I don't know. I also on my DVR, the name of the episode didn't pop up, so this is just If Loving You Is Wrong, and we're back, but I will get the season. It'll probably be in the description, because I'm going to have to fish and find out what it is. Okay, so, wasting time, sorry you guys. We open up right where we left off last season. Now, I completely forgot that we left off with a gunshot. I don't know about y'all, but I didn't even remember that. I remembered that Kelly got arrested for Ramsey. So, yeah, we pick up there. She's being put in handcuffs, and then a gunshot goes off. And all the Esperanza, Kelly, and Natalie are like, what the heck was that? Because the kids are, in the house. They're in Kelly's house. So they all run in the house, and, they go, oh, is everybody okay? Is everybody okay? And they're like, tell us, like, what happened? What the heck? Here goes Dion. Is this your gun? And Kelly's like, yeah. And then Esperanza's like, Kelly. And she's like, I'm sorry, she was like, it was loaded? And Kelly was like, yeah. And she was like, how could you have a gun? And, Esperanza's just going on and on. I'm going to get to that in a second. But, so, okay. Natalie is trying to get the kids to talk, but nobody's saying anything. So she's like, Frank, like, what happened? And he's like, the dude had a gun, which was confusing. I don't really know why he worded it like that. But she was like, what dude? What do you say? And at first I was like, was it Travis? Because that's what people thought last season. Did Travis sneak into the house? So... yeah, she was like, what dude? What are you talking about? And he was like, Justice. And how he said it, it was like he was saying, Justice, tell them what happened. But no, he was saying Justice had a gun. And so and Kelly was like, Justice, what were you thinking? He was like, I'm sorry, I didn't know it was loaded. And then so Esperanza's like, well, he's not the one that needs to be yelled at. And she had a point there because, okay, at least you can grant us the courtesy of letting us know that you have a gun when all of our kids are in the house. But you don't have to keep, which as she stands before you, she's in handcuffs on her way to jail. So I don't really understand why you're trying to keep going with it. And Natalie was even sitting there like, all the kids are fine. Like, I get why you would be upset, even in general. She's like, but the kids are fine. Like, just calm down. The witch is standing in handcuffs and being taken away for murder. You know what I'm saying? Like, what more punishment do you want for her? So, yeah, but at this time, Esperanza actually says, I don't know why you're so cool with this, Natalie, but this is not okay. This is not okay. And, So, but, because Esperanza doesn't know that it was Natalie who hooked her up with the gun. Well, at least told somebody to get her the gun. The lady's name was Nichelle, if I remember. And Kelly was having problems with the credit card, remember? Because Travis did something with the funds. We still don't know what's going on with that, do we? I don't even think so. Some people were saying it was Aunt Viv because she's mad that she's standing her son up. I don't know. So, they take Kelly away. And Natalie's like, could you at least take the handcuffs off of her? And Justice is like, Mom, where are you going? She was like, listen, I can't explain right now. She's like, but I'll be back. But right now, just go with Natalie, okay? He's like, no, Mom, what's happening? And then Peter and Paisley, Alex's kids, are like, I want to go home. And just, okay. You know what I mean? Just bear with us for a second. So... Justice, this actor was really good. This young actor, this brother, because he actually was really crying. Like, it was dripping down his face. Like, and I was like, wow. Like, he really went in. And he's like, Mom, come on. And then she's, they just, Dion don't give a F. The other cop, Rick, Sugary, By the way, y'all, that Randall and Larry phone call, we'll get to it in a second. But Natalie is looking at Rick, and she's like, could you take the handcuffs off of her? And he's looking like, I'm sorry. And Dion goes, it's policy. And right now, we actually need to take. I'm like, okay, well, calm down. So they end up taking her out, and Kelly's like, would you please take the handcuffs off me? They're not. So they pretty much throw her, and Dion just throw her right in the car. And Kelly's like, could you please call Lucian? She's like, I got it, girl. So she calls Lou. He doesn't pick up the phone because, we know he's interrogation. So she's like, call me as soon as you get this. Okay. So then we actually go to commercial. No, we went to commercial when Kelly was being carried out of the house. Not carried, but escorted out of the house. So Esperanza actually goes over. Alex and Brad are making out. Esperanza comes in, don't even knock on the door. Did y'all get that? So she knocks and comes in with Peter and Paisley and Mika, which is her daughter. And so they're like, Dad? And Brad, hugs Peter and Paisley. And he's like, talking to Paisley, he's like, why are you shaking? She's like, I'm scared. He's like, why are you scared? She goes, the gun. Then that's when Alex chimes in, the gun? What are you talking about? And then so Peter keeps turning to Esperanza. She's like, go ahead, Peter, tell them what happened. He was like, well, Justice was just showing us a gun, and then it went off. And then Brad was like, what? There was a gun? Why was there a gun? And Esperanza was like, Kelly was keeping a gun over there. He was like, loaded? And she goes, yeah. He goes, with the kids in the house? And Esperanza was like, yeah. He was like, wow, I can't even believe that. And then he goes, kids, you can never go over there again. Like, oh my gosh. Like, I get it. I really do get it. Because my mom would probably react the same way. So I'm not going to call it an overreaction. But dang, yo, for real? And then he was like, well, I want you guys to go upstairs because I'm going over there to talk to Kelly. Okay. I get it. That's the normal parent reaction. So, Esperanza actually, no, the kids, first of all, they're like, she's not over there. She got arrested. And they're like, what are y'all talking about? Like, Alex and Brad are just so confused as to what's going on. And they're like, they took her away. And then Esperanza's like, it's complicated. And then they're like, kids, why don't you go upstairs? So the kids go upstairs. And then so they're like, what's going on? Why was she arrested? And she goes, they arrested her for Ramsey's murder. And then, so they're just, what? It was pretty much, what? How was that happening? And she was like, I know. She was like, it's gotta be. She was like, I'm sure it's just a misunderstanding. Like, which you don't know? Like, is this your friend or not? Because you doing a lot. She's like, I'm sure it has to be a misunderstanding. And then Brad is like, well, are you sure? Are you sure? He was like, well, did she do it? And Esperanza's like, no, we're talking about our friend, our neighbor, Kelly. She would never hurt a fly. He goes, well, did you know she had a gun in the house? And she's like, no, and I don't know why why don't you know why she had one when Travis, you was there. When Travis choked her the F out and she had, stuff on her neck. And you giving her an ice pack or whatever to put on her neck. What do you mean you don't know why she would have a gun? I would have been like, I don't know why the witch didn't have one sooner. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? Because I don't know why she acting like she don't know nothing. Because if anything, Kelly's been confiding in her for some reason the most out of everybody. And I'm not shading Esperanza. I'm just saying she really hasn't really let anybody else in on what's going on with Travis. Esperanza probably knows the most about what's. So what do you mean you don't know why she would have a gun? He's stalking her. Like, what do you mean? Tried to rape her on the front. You know what I mean? I'm over it. So he's like, see, you think you know somebody and you don't. And then so she looking at it like, well, maybe. No. Okay? No. So he's like, well, all I know, he was like, wait a minute, but did they arrest her for murder or are they bringing her down for questioning? She goes, well, I don't know. They didn't specify. He was like, well, either way it goes, tell her not to say nothing and tell her to get a good attorney. She was like, well, it don't matter because she didn't do it. And he's like, well, I knew I didn't do it either. When they wanted him because they thought he kidnapped Randall and the baby, he was like, but they still tried to railroad me and kept me there for hours trying to insinuate that I did. So they don't care. I don't know what he's like. I don't know what's going on at that station, but tell her to get a lawyer. And that's just that because they will try to railroad her. So then we switch to Marcy. She is actually at the divorce lawyers. Okay, and I'm not gonna lie, I said Larry, I was like, okay, he cute. I said Larry is a little cute, but I didn't like how he talked, and I'm just being anal about it, but I did not like some of the, like, how he spoke, and I was like, why are you talking like that? It was just annoying. I don't know. I was over it. So anyway, she comes in there, and I'm going to try and sum this up real quick, because honestly, it took me a minute to figure out what's going on. Like, when I'm writing, I'm like, okay, where's she at? I figured it was the divorce lawyers, but I was like, let me make sure. So, okay, he's a divorce lawyer. And that he's actually kind of a friend of Marcy and Randall. He actually went to college with Randall. They were roommates and they were friends. So he met Marcy, I guess, through Randall when they got married. So he goes, well, what's going on? Like, how's Randall? She's like, actually, that's what I wanted to talk to you about. We're getting a divorce. And he was like, what? He was like, I mean, you said you guys were having problems, but I thought maybe therapy. She's like, no, we're way beyond that point. And he's like, are you sure it's that bad? She's like, yeah. And he's like, wow, me and Cherry thought you would be together forever. Cherry, we find out, is his wife, and they all used to be cool. So she was like, well, you and Cherry were wrong. And he's like, wow, I'm so sorry. Like, he was like, do you want me to talk to Randall? She was like, no, we're way beyond that point. I was actually wondering if you could represent me. And he was like, Marcy, she's like, please. I mean, he won't sign the papers. I just want to get this over with, and he won't sign the papers. The last lawyer I had did not even make a dent. Like, he still will not sign the papers. She's like, I'm just hoping that you're his friend, and maybe you could at least talk some sense into him. And he's like, Marcy, I don't know. She's like, please, I'm done. Like, I can't do this anymore. And he's like, I don't know what I'm going to be able to do. She was like, anything, please. And he's like, okay, maybe I'll try and get him to go out for drinks or something. And she's like, whatever it is that you need to do. He's like, no, I'm not saying I'll represent you. She's like, I know. Just please, if you can help me out. So then, she goes, how is Cherry doing, actually? And he's like, the kids are good. She's good. And then Ian comes in, which he's actually, I think he said he was a partner at the firm. I don't know. He's at the firm. He's a criminal defense attorney. And he was bringing him some documents. But Ian gets a little introduction because he's like, oh, he works at the firm and all this. And he looks at Marcy. He's like, oh. And she's like, hi, I'm Marcy. He's like, hello, I'm Ian. And, looks at her, I made it so obvious, that obviously he thought she was pretty and all this, that, and the third. Okay. I don't know if she picked up on it or not, but girl, I picked up on it. So then he's like, oh, I could leave and come back. And Marcy's like, no, it's fine. We're just finishing up here. She's like, thanks a lot, Larry, and leaves. Ian gives him, he's like, here are the flag staff report. The flag staff reports are all set. And so he was like, for the deposition and all that. So he's like, all right, thanks. He leaves and we switch over to Eddie. Now, he in there with the FBI, he just got on my nerve as usual. And he's like, I'm not telling y'all anything. So y'all can go out there and tell them I need my one phone call, and that's that, because I'm not saying nothing. So he's like, and what y'all FBI agents think y'all got on me, huh? What you guys think? You think you better than me? So they just walk out the room. He's like, yeah, get out of here and bring me something to drink, because I'm thirsty. Just all of this on a high horse. So Steven and Eddie come in. No, not Steven and Eddie. Steven and Lou. Okay, my homeboy Lucian comes in. And so he's like, oh, they brought y'all in here to talk to me? And Lucian is like, what the only help you got? He's like, yeah, I doubt that. He's like, now tell me something. How did 2 low-level officers get requested by the FBI to come in here and come talk to me? How did that happen? And then he's like, why don't you guys just tell me? He was like, I know you, Lucian, and Steven here. He's like, I know all of you guys. You set up this whole plan. And he actually was like that Claudia witch. And you guys set up this whole plan to take me down. But he was like, what y'all think y'all got on me? What you think you got? He was like, oh, no. He was like, it's not what we think. It's what we know. He was like, oh, we. So you're saying you're FBI. He was like, oh, I'm just a cop, Eddie. And he was like, oh, so explain to me how you got down to my Uncle Rusty's farm and you had the whole freaking cavalry with you. You had the whole FBI. He was like, well, if you must know, the FBI asked me to be there. And I don't really even know why Lucian was feeding into stuff, because I wouldn't have been telling him nothing. Saying nothing, because you're in the interrogation room, buddy. I'm not sitting in the chair that you're in. You're in the hot seat. So whatever questions you think I should be answering, I'm not. And then he's like, actually, Lou, you know what it is? He's like, and I don't know why you always speak to me with this air of arrogance. Not even believable that he would be using that type of language, because he's really not that bright. But anyway, so he's like, I don't know why you speak with this air of arrogance like you're above me. He's like, but you're not. You're not above me and you never will be. He was like, oh, really? Because the way I see it, I'm a free man. So that does make me above you. He was like, oh, I'm not walking out of here a free man. He's like, no, Eddie, you're not. Oh, you must not know Eddie, and you should know me by now because you've been riding in the car with me. So he's like, you know what, Eddie? Why don't you just tell me where Andrew is? He's like, who? Andrew. I know you know where he is. Tell me where he's at. He's like, I don't know anything, Lulu. If I knew, I would definitely tell you. And Steven's like, come on, man. You know where he's at. You know what he's doing, man. Come on, man. That's for real how he talks. Like, come on. So then he's like, you know what, Steven? Nah. He was like, why don't you take your old West Coast ASS down and surfs up, dude? And that's actually when Lucian grabs him. But backtracking, Steven goes, come on, man, you know me. He's like, yeah, I know you. And I know all y'all in the FBI. He was like, but what's really disgusting is that Lou, he was like, why can't you just admit it that you're taking me down and you're part of the FBI and you have something to do with it? Why can't you just own that? And he was like, no, what is it? I'm sorry, you guys. Lucian actually at one point says, well, they got you. He was like, oh, first it's we, now it's they. He's like, okay, I'll play your game. What do they got on me? He was like, oh, well, do you want me to start from the beginning? He's like, yeah, still being arrogant. He's like, drug possession, attempted murder, all those rookies on the wall. So he's like, oh, so you were taping me the whole entire time. He's like, no, I don't know anything about that. And then, so like I said, when he's talking to Steven and he goes, surf's up, dude. Lucian grabs him and pins him up on the wall. So Steven is trying to intervene like, Lou, you got to get a hold of yourself. Eddie just said over there, he's like, well, you better get your boy. You better get your boy. And tell him and all this, that, and the third. So they leave out. And he's like, if you think you're taking me down, he's like, what's my name, Lou? What's my name? And he goes, your name is inmate Sally 6755, just doing the number. He's like, then you don't know me if you think I'm going to jail. You don't know me because this is the real deal. He was like, y'all going to be saying, dang, that white boy is gone. You know what I'm saying? Just on his real dumb stuff. You feel me? So they leave out. And Lou is hot, like, oh my gosh, I can't even believe this dude, I can't stand him. So Steven is like, dude, you lost control in it, like, we gotta keep this clean, because we can't have him saying nothing to nobody. Like, they gotta know we handle this case by the book, no matter how much we hate him. And he was like, are you sure we covered all the bases? Because he is way too arrogant. And he's like, arrogant, he's like, come on, man, that's just Eddie. He was like, yeah, but still, man, he's way too calm. He's way too calm for us to have all this stuff on him. And he was like, are you sure, Steven, that we got... He's like, come on, man. Attempted murder, drug possession, all those rookies. And we know he shot Ben's hand off and tried to kill Pete. He's like, he's done, man. He's like, I don't know. Something is not right. Like, he got something up his sleeve. And he's like, we got him. And Lucian's like, all right, we'll call Lamont, tell him we got him down here and we're about to book him. So Eddie's actually looking through the blinds at Lou. And he's like, yeah, you up to something. You definitely up to something. So... wait a minute. Nat calls Lucian again. He's like, hey, Natalie. And he's like, I'm sorry I couldn't answer before. I was in an interrogation. She was like, okay, well, just call me back. He's like, no, I'm out now. What is it? So she tells him that Kelly was arrested for murder. He's like, what? And like, who did it? She goes, Dion. He goes, that clown. And he's like, okay, I'll look into it. Then she tells him that she, can I get in trouble for this? She tells him that the kids were all in a house and a gun went off and at Kelly's house. And she goes, can I get in trouble? He was like, how could you get in trouble for Kelly's gun? He was like, she goes, because I may have told her, to get a gun. And, I hooked her up with somebody. And he was like, I know you ain't going to that you ain't tell her to go to that crazy girl to get no gun. Because he's like, she didn't know how to get a gun safe or how to use it or anything like that. And she's like, that's because she didn't go to a gun shop. And he's like, I know you ain't sending to that crazy girl. He was like, come on. She goes, come on, I'm from the hood. She's legit. He was like, nothing about that girl is legit, Natalie. She's like, well, I thought she was. He was like, no, you knew she wasn't. And she's like, what, can I get in trouble for this? He's like, yeah. Like, what do you mean? And she's like, look, but don't tell anybody about this. And he goes, what about the gun? She goes, Dion took it. He's like, great, Natalie. That's just great. She goes, what you gonna do? He's like, I'm gonna figure it out. And then she's like, okay, I love you. He's like, okay. And she's like, Lucian. And he was like, I love you too. I'm gonna call you later. Like, he's still mad, but I still love you. You know what I'm saying? So they hang up the phone. So now he gotta find out. I don't know. I was thinking maybe he's going to sneak into the evidence room and pull it. But I was like, don't do that, Lou. Don't do that. Figure out something. Because Dion is such a freaking dirtbag. And I knew I didn't like him. By the way, that actor is going around a lot. I've seen him in a lot of stuff since Hit the Floor. Because I don't know if Hit the Floor is canceled or what. Because that show kind of comes on sporadically. But that brother is doing a lot of movies. A lot of movies, a lot of TV shows. He's actually on Daytime Divas. Go ahead. I'm going to appreciate the brother. But I don't like that character. So I'm over Dion. So then we switch to Random. Now, this is that phone call I'm talking about, y'all. He's installing a surveillance camera to his house, pointing directly at Alex's house. So he gets a phone call, and he's like, hello? He's like, yeah. He goes, who's this? He's like, it's Larry. Who? Larry who? He's like, oh, for real, we playing that game? He was like, oh, Larry, what's up, buddy? Like, you know what I mean? Like, not even like they was boys, and he was like, what's up? He's like, I mean, I'm good or whatever. He was like, I haven't talked to you in a minute, Larry. Sometimes I feel like you're avoiding me. He's like, why would I be avoiding you? He's like, I don't know. He's like, well, I'm not. And then Randall was like, okay, good. So he's like, anyway, like, how's your wife doing? He's like, oh yeah, Cherry is good. He's like, but actually, I just want to know how yours is. He's like, man, that's a long story. He's like, well, do you want to talk about it over drinks? He's like, I don't want to talk about her. And he goes, okay, well, how about drinks? And then he's like, all right, you paying? And he's like, for real, man? He was like, well, I know you making money over there. He's like, yeah, I'm comfortable, I guess. And then they start talking about the college. Like, not, he was like, okay, like, I'm looking forward to it or something. He's like, yeah, me too, old friend. And then Randall's like, oh, you calling me old? And he was like, well, you are older than me. He goes, by, like, only, like, by a couple months. And he goes, yeah, well, we can never forget that. And Randall's like, yeah, we couldn't. And then it was really like you had to see the scene, because if I'm saying it, it don't really sound like the conversation was a little sugary, but it was, especially on Larry's end. And I was looking at Randall like, do you realize that this conversation is kind of weird? Or do you, because it was like, I would have thought, oh, is that your girl on the phone? Is that your man? It wasn't normal. It wasn't a normal conversation. Larry was a little too, and he was like, oh, you need to get a driver. He was like, oh, we drinking like that? He was like, yeah, come on, man, it's been a while, like, we got a lot to catch up on. And he's like, yes, we do. And then he's like, all right, man, well, I'll see you. He's like, yeah, I'll see you soon. Like, it was just so weird. The conversation was weird. That conversation was sugary, and y'all not gonna tell me nothing else. Y'all not gonna tell me nothing else. I don't care if Tyler does something with that or not. Don't, though. But that conversation was sugary. Whether we find out it was really nothing and they really are just friends catching up, or did they have a little something back in college? Because Randall do seem like maybe, you know what I mean? I don't know. I'm just saying that conversation was weird. So I don't know, maybe, how could it have been filmed like that? If it's really nothing, then the whole conversation was filmed. The acting was just off. Because that conversation was straight up ex-lovers and all. And I actually wrote, they're talking like exes. And it was weird. Anyway, does Cherry know about that? Moving on. So the mailman is actually, he was like, yeah, man, like, I'll see you there. So they hang up. And he sees the mailman. Randall's like, hey. So the mailman comes over. This was just ridiculous. Randall interrogated him left, right, up, and down, asking him, you know, oh, I haven't seen you in a while. He's like, well, I don't know why. I've been working this route for 3 years, and I've actually put the mail in your hands several times. And he's like, oh, well, I'm sorry. And he's like, do you have any mail for me? He's like, yeah, Mr. Holmes. He's like, oh, you know my name? Yeah, I know everybody. He's like, how about the lady next door? He goes, Montgomery. And he's like, oh, you know her? He's like, yeah, she's a nice lady. She bakes me cookies on the holidays. Oh, you had her cookies? Yeah, are they good? Yeah, they're pretty good. Do you like her cookies? You know, they're alright. You know, she's just giving them to so many people that I don't really like them that much anymore. And then he was like, to black people. No, he goes, to black men in particular, she just offered them up so much. And he's like, I'm sorry, are we talking about pastries? And he's like, yeah. And then the mailman is like, I actually have to go. He's like, okay, I'm just going to cut to the chase because I know you have work to do. Has she ever offered you intercourse? And he's like, no, absolutely not. I'm happily married. And he's like, aren't we all? And then he's like, if you don't mind, he's like, how old are you? Excuse me? I'm just wondering, how old are you? I'm 53. He's like, okay, like, okay. And he's like, if you don't mind, I have to get back to work. He's like, yeah, I'm really sorry. Randall is just such a freaking dirtbag. I can't. So then we switch to Alex and Brad, right? Is that how this goes? Yeah. So he come to sit down on the couch. And he's talking about the kids. He's like, I can't believe they've grown so much since, you know, I moved out. And she's like, yeah, you know, they've grown a lot. So pretty much this scene, because I'm not going to go into it all like that. But I am, but I'm not. Because every time I say that, I end up going into it. But with this, first of all, he's telling her, he's asking her about, you know, how's the baby and all this. And she's like, you know, he's good. We actually find out Alex ended up getting full custody because a social worker ended up giving the report back to the judge and they granted her full custody. So he's like, well, that's good. She was like, yeah, because before the judge was saying I would get, you know, temporary visits. And not temporary visits, supervised visits, and I will only get to see, him, like, on weekends or whatever. And he's like, for real? She's like, yeah, but luckily I have full custody, so I'm glad he's home. And she's like, I just want to really thank you for saving him. He's like, you don't have to thank me, like, I had to. And she's like, Brad, you know you don't have to. He's like, have to what? She's like, ask about him, like, I know it's difficult for you. And he's like, he goes, he's just a harmless kid and all this. Like, he didn't really do anything wrong. So he was like, she's telling him, I'm sorry. Like, for the 1,000th time, she's saying she's sorry. And he goes, so am I. She goes, for what? You didn't do anything. He's like, no, I tried to hurt you, though. I tried to hurt you as much as you hurt me. And she's like, but I deserved it. He was like, no, you didn't. You deserved to be loved and adored and all this other stuff that wasn't really believable. So then she's like, you would do that for me? He's like, yeah, but evidently I wasn't doing a good job because you weren't looking elsewhere. She's like, yes, I did, but you got to understand that wasn't you, it was me. He's like, that doesn't make me feel any better about it. And she's like, I know, I'm just really sorry. So then he's like, so how have you been coping with, things since I haven't been here? She's like, I've been managing, but, she's like, I miss you every day. I miss you when I go to sleep. I miss you in the morning. I miss you in the shower. All this other stuff. And he's just, they both crying and everything. Just, I love you too. So what are we doing? Like, what's going on right now? He's like, well, I really want to try and work things out. And she's like, for real? She's like, should I be? And he's like, be what? She's like, no, I don't have the right to ask you this. And he's like, no, for real, what is it? And she's like, should I be hopeful about us? And he's like, yes. You could be hopeful about us. And then they kiss and hug, and he's like, I gotta go. And she's like, okay, well, when will I see you again? And she's like, never mind, you don't have to answer that. Just know the locks are the same. Your key still works. Come by. We could talk. So they getting back together. I guess is how this is going. Looks like he's gonna try and talk to Marcy next week to break the news to her. So then we switch to Randall. He gets, I guess every time Brad or somebody leaves the house, he gets a beep on his phone. Because of the surveillance camera. So he runs outside, happy like a mug, sees Brad, starts taunting him. Oh, you moving back in? What the hell? You moving back in? Even though I've been in there and God knows who else has been in there. I thought you were a little stronger than that, Brad. But, oh, you don't feel like talking? Oh, but you do know that's my son in it. Okay, I'll be here when you get back. Okay, Brad leaves. We switch to Kelly in the interrogation room. And she's like, hello, can somebody please tell me what's going on in here? Can somebody please tell me what's going on? Nobody's doing it. So Lucian sees Dion, and he's like, yo, Dion, is Kelly Isaacs in the interrogation room? And he goes, yeah. He's like, well, what's going on? He's like, you need to talk to the DA, and walks away. And Lucian is like, oh, you are such an a-hole. You know what I mean? So Lou goes in there. She's like, oh, my God, Lou, I'm so happy to see you. He's like, what's going on? She's like, I don't know. Like, I don't know what the heck is going on. So long story short, he's like, okay, I'm going to try and help you out. I'm going to fix this for you. He's like, because I don't know what's going on either. And she's like, they arrested me for Ramsey, and I don't know what's going on. I didn't do it. He's like, is there a reason why they would think you did it? She's like, no, I have no idea what's going on. So the DA comes in. And no, because she's saying, matter of fact, I think it was Travis. Travis, man. And he's like, are you sure? He doesn't seem too bright. And she's like, he's not bright, but he's dumb enough to try something like this. And Lou was like, are you really sure that he... And the DA comes in, throws Lucian out. We're just going to say that. And he's like, can we please talk outside in private, just me and you? She's like, no, I don't think so. And so she tells Lucian, please ask Natalie if Justice is okay, and tell Justice I'm coming home soon. So he's like, all right. And then she goes, I wouldn't say that if I were you, saying that she's not going to believe me. So she's like, well, what's going on? Because she's like, oh, you're under arrest for murder. She's like, but how can I be under arrest? I didn't do it. She's like, well, that's funny, because we actually have you recorded. Takes out whatever it was and pulls the video. And it's Ramsey. She goes, he called the police. And it's Ramsey. And he's like, my name is Ramsey Walters. I've been stabbed. Help me. I've been stabbed. He's like, I'm sorry, sir. Are you on a cell phone? Whoever that dispatch person was, I can't. So he's like, come on, please help me. 911, help me. And then all you hear is Kelly. Kelly, please. Kelly, no, please, stop. And then so the DA turns the thing off. And she goes, do you want to hear some more? Next week on If Loving You Was Wrong. So they saying that it was Kelly. I'm thinking, did Travis say, I'm gonna dial 911 and you're gonna say Kelly, please, and make it seem like it was her? Could that have happened? Because otherwise, that doesn't make sense. We know it wasn't Kelly. We do know that, right? Yeah, we know it wasn't. It wasn't her. It wasn't her. It was not her. And we do see Travis in a cop car, but I don't know what he's in there for, so. But you guys, I'm going to get off because I don't want to prolong this. Please let me know if I missed anything, because I was going kind of quick. Just because I don't want you guys to be here all day. I know you don't want to see a long review every week, so I try to keep it short when it can be, and I will do shout outs sometime this season. I'm going to find out what season this is. And so thank you guys so much for watching. Shout out Rosie. He's going back. He's in graduate school. And so shout him out. Okay, it's the one and only your girl Jada J. Peace. And thanks to all my subscribers. Peace, y'all.